I think another thing is remember that leadership starts at home. It starts with mom and dad.
It has to start at home.
And that your kids are looking for you to lead them. They don't want to try to fumble around and figure it all out themselves. They actually want parents that want to lead them.
Yeah, they do.
And they crave it. And that's why sometimes they act out in behaviors that are not of who they are because they're asking you to lead them in that season. Hello, everyone. We are Greg and Jacquie Francis, and welcome to High Performance Parenting, where our passionate goal is to encourage you to raise champion children in a crazy world. Every week, we will bring you multiple episodes from our extensive experience of raising our six happy, healthy, successful, godly kids who are confidently equipped to win big in life.
We deeply believe that any parent who is provided with the right knowledge and continual support can raise amazing kids. And when they do, all of our futures get better. If raising up future generations of absolute champions matters to you as much as it does to us, here's how you can contribute. Like and share this podcast with everyone you know. And together, let's embrace this journey of raising champion kids in a crazy world. Welcome back.
All right.
We're on our final part of this. And,
we think we are. Who knows?
I know. You're just telling me I didn't give you the right prep for the last one.
I was a little like, okay, we're going deep today.
You gotta be on your toes, babe.
I was laughing with Chrissy because talking about being on my toes. I was laughing with Chrissy in the house. She's like, oh, what are you podcasting today? And I'm like, well, I think I know, but anything can happen with Dad. And she's like, welcome to our life. He doesn't even give us an idea of what we're going to talk about. I felt like that. Greg and I had planned out what we were going to talk about. And he was like, actually, squirrel, going over here.
No, you got to be ready to pivot, babe.
Well, obviously, honey. After 22 years, I don't know if I'm ready to pivot.
All right, so let's wrap this up.
All right.
What this has become for us of doing this podcast is a couple of things. One, it's an understanding that, I don't know, it's probably always been this way. It just feels heavier and heavier all the time, that culture around us in this world is, deeply influencing families in a lot of ways more than parents are, right? And so we want to fight against that. That's the thing. Most of what we talk about is how you have to realize that you are at a war. You are in a war for your kids, for their future, for legacy, like we were just talking about. You are in a legitimate war. You don't get a choice, right? You don't get a choice. You're in it. You don't get to say, I'm not going to participate in that war because I don't believe in war. Okay, well, welcome to your kids getting taken out in a war because you won't participate, right? The war's here. It's always going to be here. It doesn't mean we can't win a war. But we have to actually fight in a way that helps us win the war. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think more than anything, one of the things I want most people to walk away with is feeling empowered. When you listen to our podcast, do you walk away with some more tools that you feel empowered to go and apply for your family? Mm-hmm. Do you feel empowered to make your home a place that is peaceful and yet also sometimes friction? We were just talking about this the other day. Greg and I were, doing some correction talks at our house. Yeah. It is what it is. We all got to get back on track with stuff, including Greg and I. And we kind of recognize even where we're not doing a good job keeping things on track.
Such a good conversation, by the way. We should talk about it in one of our episodes. It was a real parenting moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really good. But what I was going to say is, in the past, maybe we would be like, oh, I don't know that we want to bring this up to the kids because, that could cause X, Y, Z. I don't know if we want to hurt their feelings. I don't know if they'll understand it fully. Let's just tell them this, beat around the bush, whatever. But we were like, sometimes there's friction when you have conversations with your kids. And that's what we're talking about, empowering you to do those kind of conversations. Because we have 17-year-olds. Not every day is roses. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? We have to have some positive friction between things that we discuss with our kids. And I want you to know, we're having those conversations, and you can too with your kids. Yeah. Another thing is I just want people to understand too that, making little changes every day can lead to big changes.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes you might be thinking to yourself, oh, gosh, we didn't start like Greg and Jacquie did.
This is so out of whack. How do I rein this back?
But what? We were sitting there one day just like you. Literally, I remember night after night, we'd be frustrated with XYZ after a while. And I was like, is this how this is parenting? Parenting's exhausting. I don't know if we can do this, hon.
Sure.
And we were like, so what's one thing we can apply this week? Okay, well, we could organize our kids with XYZ. Okay, let's just do that. And we just started applying the little things. But here's what we did is we were consistent.
Yeah.
So if I can encourage you again, if anything, we want to teach you consistency in your household. I think one of the biggest things that we want people to know too is that, like we always say all the time, forgiven and forgotten. Right? Like for anybody that's heard us, we talk about, discipline and how to do that. But one of the things at our household is making sure that once you have asked for forgiveness when you've made a mistake, whatever that mistake is, you know what I mean? There might be some repercussions. You might need to fix some things. You might need to change some things. You might need to go ask for more apologies somewhere, whatever that looks like. Our motto is once that has happened, it's forgiven and forgotten.
Yeah, it's really it's like a connection principle in our house.
Yes.
And also a self-image development that, I mean, we don't want kids in our house or even each other to be afraid of ever making a mistake, because then you don't play all out. You don't even get to become what you can because you have to operate out of fear all the time. So you're going to make mistakes, and when you do make mistakes, there's ways to remedy it and to move on from it, and where you don't have to worry about there being some big break in connection. I remember I had that worry. I thought about, gosh, if you make a mistake, then now that kind of is held over your head, and then it creates more disconnection. Then what if I make another mistake on top of that? Now I'm even that much more, and pretty soon, is Dad mad at me? Does he not like me anymore?
Yeah, compounds.
And then you just kind of start avoiding them, and that's kind of my childhood. That's like how it went. But anyway, so yeah, there's so many different things. Like just to wrap this thing up, it is so important for every family out there to actually know. You have to embrace this. We're not dramatizing this. Your family is under attack culturally. It's under attack. There is an agenda of the world, because we live in a fallen world, to separate the nuclear family, to just make it unhealthy and dysfunctional, and then to create a legacy of dysfunction. That is what we are up against. Now, that is not God's will. I mean, one of the things that we teach people all the time, that if you're trying to actually get your inner game right, one, you have to get your heart healed from past traumas, things like that, because that stuff does matter, and you can carry stuff that you don't need to, and you need to find out how to get rid of it. There's processes for that. Number two is you got to have a renewed mind. You got to realize that a lot of stuff you probably learned doesn't really necessarily line up with how it's supposed to be. And that's why you need some kind of a compass like the Word of God to know what is the way it's supposed to be. And then the third thing is you have to get a kingdom perspective. If you don't have a kingdom perspective, now you always are confused by information, right? And when you have a kingdom perspective, you realize there is a design from our designer of how things are supposed to function, how they're supposed to operate. And you have to know enough about it. So therefore you have a desire and a goal to get in alignment with how the kingdom is supposed to work. And if you don't get in alignment with how the kingdom is supposed to work, you're going to be chasing rabbits all the time.
Yeah, that's
You're
true.
going to be trying to accomplish this thing for your family. But then when you actually do accomplish it, you realize, oh, that really didn't work out like I thought, even though I just spent 15 years of my life trying to accomplish that thing, like the financial example, stuff like that. Yeah. And so it's important to understand that God wants us to live in a kingdom way, right? He wants us to live in a kingdom way because of all of the benefits of operating within the kingdom, right? And we are supposed to be people who are kings and queens of the King, and we're supposed to be colonizing our domains everywhere that we are in order to function the way that He designed it to function, right? I know I could go on this for an hour, but...
Oh, it's a good topic. Right. I couldn't agree more with you, and that takes, though, intentionality.
For sure.
That's the biggest thing, too, that I think we like to discuss is parenting takes intentionality. And it's not convenient all the time. It's not even fun all the time. There's a purpose behind it.
Yep.
And that's so important in today's world, that people understand that, you need to wake up and take territory in your household and be intentional, and not to allow just anything to get in your family dynamic that is not from God.
Yeah.
That is huge.
I would encourage every parent out there that this should be a goal of yours, is that when you get described by your kids when they're older, that one word that is in that sentence of description of you is intentionality.
Yeah.
That they were intentional.
Again, it goes back to parenting with purpose.
Yeah. And then another thing that is really important that we want people to know that I feel like we talk about a lot in our episodes is how to actually create a level of freedom from chaos through structure.
Yeah.
That if you implement simple systematic structures in your home, it actually takes a lot of parenting burden off of you,
I
right?
agree.
And but if you don't have it in there, then you can probably expect a life of chaos. And you got to own it. You got to know that if there's chaos consistently in your home, it's not because you're an awful parent. It's because you don't have enough of implemented
So
structures.
you're allowing it.
Well, yeah, you don't have structures in place that you are holding a standard to. You trust me, it takes work to get them in on the front end, but it saves you so much work
And happiness.
over time.
I think another thing is remember that leadership starts at home. It starts with mom and dad.
It has to start at home.
And that your kids are looking for you to lead them. They don't want to try to fumble around and figure it all out themselves. They actually want parents that want to lead them.
Yeah, they do.
And they crave it. And that's why sometimes they act out in behaviors that are not of who they are because they're asking you to lead them in that season and in that situation and in that predicament, And I actually take it as an honor. I see it as an honor that we get to lead our kids. We don't have to, we get to.
Yeah.
And so that's important to remember.
For sure. Another massive topic is that there is this balance in this necessity for kids to have discipline and connection.
So important.
There has to be both.
So important.
Because when there's discipline done out of love and out of a desire for discipleship of them into the people they are supposed to be, then it's like your kids, they feel connection through your discipline because they know of what your intention is.
So good.
Right?
So good.
And if there's not an intentional desire and even methods for how you create connection with your kids, it's going to really limit how much you can discipline your kids, right? Because you need to have a balance of both, and it's a heavy topic. That's why we talk about it so much.
I feel like it is a heavy
on our
topic, yeah.
podcast,
And I think too, one of the things that all parents have to remember is a strong marriage creates a strong family.
Oh yeah.
And being on the same page with stuff.
I know we keep talking about probably rebranding
Yeah.
this podcast to not be just high performance parenting, but high performance family.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we should go down the marriage topic a little bit more because it's such an important part of our parenting, but it all kind of works together, right?
I agree. And again, learning the hard way. Greg mentioned it, I think, 1 or 2 episodes ago, that, for a long time, we didn't know how to do both.
Yeah.
We didn't know how to have a connection, you and me,
Yeah.
and then also parent. So like you said, we kind of buried our head in maybe the parenting area and our marriage hurt for a while. And we don't want others to have to deal with that. We want to equip you to be able to do both. And you can. Like we talk about all the time, you don't have to have one or the other. It just might look different than maybe the way you were raised or how other families do things. It might look different for your family. For a high performer, you have to implement other things that some people don't. You have to go the extra mile in some ways others don't. You have to be intentional even in your marriage, like we talk about. And that just all comes from, again, communication.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I would say in closing of this, just final thoughts. When people ask us why we do this podcast, I can tell you what it's not. It's not just about parenting tips, right? It's not that small. It's really way more about helping families build intentional, disciplined, connected, healthy homes in a culture that will continue to try to pull you apart. Right? That's what we do here. That's why we do what we do. That's why you and I get up on Wednesday mornings and we come in here and we whip out a couple of episodes and we stay super structured with it and we stay on it. And it's not convenient. Right now we have kids that are, a couple of kids are on the golf course in a tournament that I would love to be at. We also have
basketball camp going on
we have
right this
other
minute.
Kids in a basketball camp
that I
right
need to go
now that you're going to jump in,
take some
and
time
go
for.
do.
Yep.
Plus, we have other clients that we're coaching.
Yeah.
But the point
all
is,
the things.
Point is, we make time for this because it matters, and if this benefits our family and future generations, amen to that, right? We're going to make sure that happens no matter what. But through this podcast, even if it helps one other family have a more connected, intentional household, that they have legacy success, man, every bit of it was worth it.
Yep, that's our prayer.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening and thanks for your love and support. We hope that today's episode added tremendous value to you and your family. It would mean so much to us if you would partner with us on our mission of helping parents around the globe raise champion children in this crazy world.
To do so, simply take a moment to like and share this podcast with everyone in your network. See you next time.